Hello everyone, this is AV Creative. We are genuinely pushing acrylic pouring further than ever before to create a giant mountain triptych in the style of Japanese ink paintings. We are going to be using techniques that anyone can try: straw blow, swipes, glue gun and more. Today's video is sponsored by NordVPN. When I bought these canvas, they are 50 by 20. When I opened the box and I found out they're so incredibly light, like the lightest canvas I've seen in my life probably, and they just kind of reminded me of Japanese sort of silk paintings, and I had a thought, what if we make a painting in Japanese style of the mountains with maybe some sakura blossoms? In the end, I think I'm not going to use one canvas, I'm not going to use two canvases, I am going to use 3 of them. The color scheme for the background is absolutely minimalist. We are going to only use Mars Black, Payne's Grey, Titanium White, Phthalo Blue and Warm Grey. So this is this Warm Grey. That's the color. Now here I mix Phthalo Blue, a bit of Mars Black and some white. And this is Payne's Grey but with white. So what I will be doing now, I will be using those 3 of making lighter and lighter and lighter mixtures, all with white, nothing else. So this is the whole tub of white. So in it there is 1 part of paint to 1 part of my pouring medium, and my pouring medium, I like using water and PVA glue as my pouring medium. Around 30% of the mixture is Floetrol, and then if it's still too thick I add some water. So this is like an average mix that I will use for other techniques, but for this one I'm going to dilute it with water, a lot of water. So this is my base. White goes in and a tiny bit of this paint, and then white goes in and a tiny bit of that, and I'm just going to make a really faint pastel colors. Like, let's call this mix Payne's Grey. So Payne's Grey, a little bit about blue in here, and Warm Grey. I don't like mixing in those bottles. I like my old sticks, my veteran sticks. Well, okay, to be honest, I think I'm happy with, because this will be mostly the color for the sky. Looking at some Japanese masters, and yeah, perhaps one of these, something similar, or maybe that one. Of course I'm not going to copy it, but just roughly that's the idea. I'll have some mountains and some cherry blossoms. I think I'm trying to achieve the watercolor effect with watered down acrylics. Oh, let's just start. I might actually move them with my fingers. Okay. This color gives me sort of like old style vibes. I like it. All right. I am going to move the paints. I think I'm happy with the colors. I wanted some really pale, nondescript vibes, because I want the mountains to be seen against that wash. I call it a wash. I'm really curious how fast this is going to dry. Let's just scoop up the drippings. So we're done. These are completely dry, and I must say I'm pretty happy with the colors. I thought it would be really nice to have a big mountain, but then I would like some mountains in the distance. Now you may be wondering why I chose to paint mountains this week. Well, that's actually because mountains are the logo of today's sponsor, NordVPN. So what do? NordVPN encrypts your internet traffic and hides your location. This means that other parties can't spy on what you are doing online. It keeps you safe and protects your data. Did you know that most governments have direct access to internet service providers and can directly track your online activity? They even share this data with other countries. Having a VPN prevents this from happening by hiding all your online activities. This is especially useful if you use any unsecured public Wi-Fi and can stop you from getting hacked. Moreover, NordVPN lets you access websites not available in your country, for example, streaming sites that have different content in other countries. I have found so many shows on Netflix USA that we don't have here in England, and now my family have been binge watching them on all our devices. NordVPN takes just a few moments to set up, and even for someone not that tech savvy like me, it's so easy. Now Nord have given me a huge discount just for you guys. If you go to nordvpn.com/abcreative, you can get a 2-year plan for 70% off, plus an additional 1 month for free. NordVPN offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it out risk-free. That ends up at only $3.56 a month. That ends up costing less than a cup of coffee. Thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. I don't want like a block mountain at the back, if you know what I mean. So what I'm going to do now, those 3 colors from the background, I'm going to put them together and test them. That's pretty light. This is just my pouring black mix. Maybe just a drop first. I still want a very, very pale mountain range in the distance. I am considering a bit of Payne's Grey as well. It actually doesn't matter which colors you choose as long as they are similar to the ones you used. I think I'm happy with my color now. I'm going to put it in one of those squeezy bottles. That's not much, as you can see. I'm actually getting pretty anxious because I've no idea what the effect will be. I think I want the mountain here to be the tallest, this one in the middle, then something here. So let's just start with this side. Something like this. And then you see the darkest part here, that's where I want my tall mountain to be. Something like this. I'm still hoping I can pull it off. Okay, now I'm getting rid of all the paint. I think I quite like the shapes now. The only problem is I can't blow from here, so I have to turn it all. Yes, this is my very, very old straw. You won't believe it, it's probably over a year old. I do have silicone ones, but I quite like this one. I can use my finger. As you can imagine, because the background is dry, doesn't glide easily. Well, that's what we want. Actually, finger is perfect for this job. Look at this. Now, there's one thing. I don't want my mountains to be just one color. So, first of all, spread a bit of paint further down, because I do want to add a bit of black or grey. Oh, I do want this kind of wispy effect down here. Okay, so now a tiny bit of black, but really, really small amount. So you can blend them together. Because as you can imagine, the mountains won't be just uniform. I might swipe it as well. Really improvising now. With a little bit of tissue that's moist. Sorry, I'm really focused now. I think I'm alright. I think it's okay. Did want them faint. They kind of got those two values blending together. Let's see how it dries. You can always add a bit more darker paint if you wish. I don't know, I don't want too much. I definitely want it really light, so it was dry in no time. So now I'm ready for the second layer, and I'm basically going to repeat the same thing. I'm going to add the 3 colors here, but darken them. I'm going to shade them with black and make them darker. So this is going to be my mid-range, and then the ones at the bottom will be the darkest. So I want to make sure this is darker than my first range of mountains. No, because I'm not copying the original, the Japanese painting. Oh, by the way, I don't know who the artist was. I've been trying to find out, and it's like seemed impossible. So if you do know, just please let me know. So now I'm really planning my mountains. I want something coming down from this side and sort of both meeting in the middle. But also remember, dry background, we can wipe it off. So this is one of my mountains. Something like that. Maybe I'll go a bit lower this time. Okay, I think I'm happy, so I am applying more paint just to drag it down. I actually had an idea. I might moist my canvas with water just to make the dragging easier. So let's take a brush with water. I make a mess now, it doesn't matter. I'm dragging it down anyway. I'm still trying to get the watercolor effect, you know, from acrylics on tissue. It's not perfect yet, but I think I'm getting there. I am also going to add in a minute a bit of black to create some contrast. A little bit of black. This section is still wet, and I am adding the darkest at the bottom now. If you haven't seen my reference, that's what I'm aiming at. Now the section closest to us will be seen the most. I might dab the wet paint with a brush, or just to create impression of some growth. This is probably too light. I will definitely go for darker value. Well, shall we use this brush now? Let's just make a bit of a mess. Now the edges won't be crisp. Yeah, this is too light. So in a minute I'm going to add black. Well, so far I'm having fun. I was a bit worried whether it's going to work, but once I think it will, I can kind of relax and enjoy it more. Just some black now, with nothing else. And here, I think it's going to be a lake or something. Don't worry, it looks so messy, but I'm hoping I'll fix it somehow. Take a big brush. It's very different because these are pouring acrylics, you know, this is not regular paint, and really watered down. After some deliberation, I've decided to wipe this section off because I want this kind of, if this is going to be a lake, there have to be some kind of an outlet, and that's the source of the water coming in. So a bit lighter here, and some trees here. There'll be a reflection in water as well. Make it a bit darker. I think I'm going to leave it to dry and then add a bit of fog mist. No water at all, just a tiny bit of white. You see what it does? So just the edges are not so harsh, and we get a bit of misty finish. If you think you need it, but I might just dub just a little bit. I don't think I want a lot. Or even grey. Doesn't have to be pure white. Okay, so let's just leave it, and now I'm going to focus on the branch. The thickest branch somewhere here. The sakura branch is very gnarly, kind of lumpy. Again, I'm looking at some original paintings. With a glue gun, the faster you go, the thinner your lines will be, and the slower, you'll get thicker branches, so I'll start slowly here. And then you want the thinner endings. See how thick is here? I'm trying to make this branch double. And actually with this type of tree, glue gun is perfect because it gives you, the more blobs you have, the more natural it looks actually. Now I wish I had a black glue or brown. I'm sure there are different colors. I know there are various glittery ones, but that will be awesome because then I wouldn't have to paint it. Perhaps I have to investigate and see how many different colors we can get. By the way, when it's dry and if you're not happy with any section, you can just peel it off. So at the moment I'm going to apply this one. I think I need a couple of branches here. There's something missing here. So what's next? Next is brown paint and baby wipes. And you can use a brush, but I'm going to use my finger and just dab the branches with, which one? I'll use burnt umber. Why baby wipes? You'll see in a minute, because if I touch the background, I won't be happy, so I have to wipe it off quickly. I personally feel that I have more control with my finger. I think I'm going to use black as well. So as you imagine, I'm just going to complete all of the branches the same way. So what I want to do now is to add a bit of black. To be honest, even if I paint it a bit on the background, it probably doesn't matter because I want the branches to be thicker. I've got some leftover black and I've just decided to add just little bits of tiny branches to make it look more interesting, just with a brush. Once I've been doing this, I'm thinking how to make the flowers. It's because I've got glue gun here, so it's raised, it's not flat. I think I'm going to experiment with something I haven't done on this channel yet. I might be trying palette knife. Again, I looked at my reference and I can see red, but the red is sort of on the pink side. It's not orange red. So I've collected quite a few heavy body acrylics that I have. I think that's the right color, but I don't think this is heavy body acrylic. I still might try it. I think the color will be perfect. So this is the paint. So first thing, I am just going to touch some endings. So these will be like smaller ones. I want some of them to be on the branches. So I'm going to use a palette knife, but for the bigger flowers. Well, let me see if I can do it with a palette knife. I suppose I can. Just some little bits here and there. Taking a lot of paint and just touching it. Let's see if I can use the small palette knife or the big one. Okay, well, so far it's working. Oh, I like these. I like these a lot. Okay, so let's just fix these. I think it's time for some white now. Like a bit of a contrast. Let's mix those two. it's still the same evening. I'm really surprised. Oh, I just wanted to say something. You know, when I make a design, I often later on kind of see if anyone else came up with this similar idea. And actually there's one lady, and I think she was inspired by exactly the same painting. She made a really beautiful painting in this style. Her channel is called MariArtHome, so we might want to check her as well. The only difference is that she used the brush from the beginning to the end. Anyway, okay, so I'm almost done. A couple more flowers. And the last thing I've decided to do is just to add some lighter little blobs in between the petals, so that will give us an impression of some flowers that are a bit more in the distance, not seen. And they will make the branches a bit more busy. Oh, I think I missed those little ones. There's not much, but I think it makes it look a bit more realistic. And now to finish it off, I'm adding tiny drops of bronze in the middle. I was thinking of yellow first, but then it wouldn't be seen so well. I've looked online at various ones. Some of them are red in the middle, some of them have yellow bits or like brownish. And also thank you so much for all the suggestions I've been receiving every week. I'm making a list. I might try doing one more thing, but I don't know if it's going to work. What if I paint a little Japanese house close to the lake? This is supposed to replicate one of those, you know, those ink drawings. Now the guy living in the little house went fishing. Again, those traditional boats were very flat, like long and flat. I'm looking at one example. I don't know what he's got in that boat. He's got all kinds of things, but I'm not going to give him so many items. Now I'll try really hard to make my signature in Japanese. Okay, well, this really felt like a journey. This piece doesn't even look like acrylic pouring, but you saw yourselves how I made it. Yes, I used the brush here and there to touch something up, but there were so many exciting techniques on display here. Remember to head over to nordvpn.com/abcreative to get a 2-year plan plus 1 additional month with a huge discount. I want to be honest with you, I only accept sponsorships that I genuinely believe would be useful for both myself and my fans, which this definitely is, and it helps support the channel. I want to hear in the comments what you thought of this piece. It's very different to what you might be used to, but I would love to go bigger and bolder in the future. Remember that I have a new video every Saturday, so if you haven't subscribed yet, I would appreciate you considering it. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye bye.